Hey there, it's me again, Eli from Good Tiger, Bad Tiger, and today I am going to show you guys more methods on how to discover more music. I did a video a week ago showing you guys how to do some music discovery stuff through the internet. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do it through more physical means. And I say, let's cut this preface short and just get right into it. Now, the first method might seem pretty obvious, but this is going to music stores or going to music fairs. This is very helpful if you're a collector. You probably already go to these types of places. But I've discovered quite some interesting stuff by going to these fairs, not even having to purchase much, but just talking to the vendors. And a lot of them specialize in certain styles. So I'm based out of New England, so I go to a lot of these New England fairs. And there are some vendors that you run into over and over again, and some of them, sell just certain styles. So, for an example, there's this one gentleman, I forgot his name, but I've picked up quite a good handful of Japanese jazz. A lot of Three Blind Mice stuff, and stuff kind of adjacent to that. So, like some Kamiko Kasai. I got a Hako Yamasaki record from him as well. And you get a huge city pop section. I'm not crazy for city pop personally, but I do know it's quite a popular style of music that people are into. I'm more into the jazz side of things when it comes to stuff pressed from Japan. But having conversations with him, it's like I learned a lot about how often they're pressing or repressing certain labels, certain artists and who they were performing with. I learned quite a lot and got some pretty cool background directly from the guy. And of course, there's other vendors that were specializing in other things. There's people who specialize in old school hip hop and R&B. There's people who only specialize in obscure jazz, like free jazz and stuff like that. Really cool way to discover things and, of course, spark up some conversations. This is a bit harder if you live in an area with no record stores and there's no record fairs really coming towards you. I grew up in a small town personally, so there was really none of that. Now that I'm in closer proximity to more urban areas, then I'm able to go to these. But it is a good method if you have the accessibility, and I definitely recommend trying that out. So this next method is really cool and really fun. It also involves the physical media. Pretty much everything I'm talking about in this video involves physical media. But this is the records themselves, and more specifically the sleeves of them. So this is my first example. We'll take it out of its plastic sleeve here. We have John Fahey Best Of from 1959 and 1977. This is a German press that I got when I was there in Europe a couple of years ago. Actually, this is an English press. This is made in England here, but I got it in Germany. It's just a typical record. On the back, it has a track listing, a picture of him holding it looks like a honey badger or some sort of rodent, in the front here. But the real magic is on the inside here. Pull out this inner sleeve, and you get this really cool advertising sleeve here, and it shows tons and tons of different albums from different artists and from different record labels. Not every record is going to have these. A lot of vintage ones do, but not all of them do. This is clearly an original sleeve, but you have stuff from this label called Sonnet, and they press some Leo Kottke and other Tacoma adjacent stuff. You have some blues records. This is how I actually discovered quite a few different artists. I never heard of Hound Dog Taylor. That's blues, but I never heard of him before I saw this, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to listen to it. I love Hound Dog Taylor. Same with John Hartford. Never heard of him before. You have stuff from Flying Fish. And on the back here, just tons of stuff, and it's like, whoa, it's neat. You can see stuff. If it sounds interesting to you, check it out. It might be, I hate to say underground, but it might be a not well-known piece of media, and definitely a really fun thing to do is check out these inner sleeves. Sometimes outer sleeves will also have kind of an advertisement on the back. I have some Merle Haggard records that have that on the back there, so say more common back in the day, really not nowadays as much, but back when records were the norm, these were decently common, I'd say. Another example, this time being from Madlib's Shades of Blue, if I can get the reflection not showing it. This is a repressed copy that I got few months ago, I think. And here it has another sleeve. This is the 75th year anniversary era of pressings of these. People say the quality is variable. I don't mind it personally, but anyway, here's the inner sleeve, and it has all these Blue Note albums on both sides. Really, really neat. So you can kind of go through these. I mean, these are more of the bigger names, in Blue Note. Some of the bigger records, more well-known ones. But if you're new to the label and are trying to get into some of these, you can go through and be like, oh, that looks cool. I've never listened to Jackie Terrison or Jose James. I haven't, actually. So I could look those up and check them out. And, it's really neat. We looked at one that was more blues and folk music and country. This is all jazz and jazz-adjacent stuff from Blue Note. So really neat example here as well. One more thing about physical media. We're going to go to CDs now because I have examples in the CDs here. But on the inside of these, occasionally you will find, if they were preserved well, these mail order forms. And these were a common way to acquire new things back in the day, straight from record labels. A lot of indie labels did this as well. This one's neat. Cargo mail order from 3 different labels here: Fist Puppet, Headhunter, and Grilled Cheese. And just a list of all these different artists and musicians selling stuff. And, there's some names I recognize, like Luster. See, that seems to be pretty much it. Fluff, I've heard of. You get the idea. Here's actually Blink-182's on here, Cheshire Cat. But super cool. Another way to find more things is from these mail order forms. These are, I've noticed, a bit more uncommon. People would buy CDs and sometimes throw these out because it didn't matter at the time. Now I think they're really cool pieces of history, and another cool way to find new stuff, discover a new record label, discover a couple new artists, is through these. So if you can pick up a used CD, sometimes you might have this mail order form in it. I'd say scoop it up and take a look there. All right, so next up, we're going to be talking about album features. This is really, really a great and effective way to find new artists. I've done it like crazy. I'll go through an album that I really like, and if there's a feature, I'll look them up and I'll check them out. And the example I'm going to be using is a very recent one. Pink Pantherist, Fancy Some More. The quality of this vinyl is okay. Not the best, but cool to own anyway. And here we have an insert, and you can go through and see, who played or who did a remix of the song with her. So we have some Groove Armada. We have some Zara Larsson. Of course, that's like the most popular one right now. We have Raven Lenae. We have Kilimanjaro. Lukeman and Leod. Sega Bodega. Just really neat. You can, check out all these different artists. The other example I was going to use for this was Kaytranada's album Bubba. I don't own it though, so I can't show you the record itself, but I will put a picture up right here so you can see what the album looks like and some of the features on it. I know Tinashe's on there. That's how I discovered Tinashe, and I love Tinashe's music. I think it's fantastic. Who else? What is it? Duran Bernard, is that his name? I don't know. He has a great song he's featuring on that album called Free Fall. Love that track. Loads of cool stuff. So that's the other example. And on this topic, I wanted to mention compilation albums. Now, I did go through this on Discogs because you can just look at there and there's all the blue links. But you can do the same with stuff physically, obviously. This is a great series called Breakin' Bossa. Super cool from Schema, which is an Italian label. This is the only one I own. I found this randomly, like a shop that doesn't specialize in this type of stuff, but super cool. This is how I discovered some bigger names like Tosca, Soul Stance, Kyoto Jazz Massive, Truby Trio. Really neat stuff. And also, what's this? Other releases from Schema, all through here. So you can find more cool music doing that. And of course, check out the artists that are featured here. If you really dig their stuff, check out the rest of what they have. You're gonna find more. And then of course, when you go check out them, they might feature other artists or be signed to other labels. Just keep going. It's like it's like a tree, you know. It just keeps going and going and going forever. So yeah, that's another really cool thing is compilation records. But let's keep moving. I don't want to ramble too long here. All right. So this next method is much more interactive with local scenes, and that's literally going to shows in your local area. This is easier if you live in an urban area. If you're into electronic music, try finding DJ sets wherever you live. If you're into rock and specifically emo/screamo and hardcore, there is loads and loads of stuff within localized scenes all across, I'd say, the world pretty much. You just have to seek them out, and you can find flyers for stuff hung up all over the place. If you use social media, for example, on Instagram, a lot of different bands, I'd say most bands plus labels are, and venues and promoters post local shows in areas. And so that's a great way to find new music, is going to see them live and see what else they're talking about. Sometimes they do covers, or sometimes people from the record label, a lot of indie labels will do expos at these types of places where you can discover more. Obviously it's not as efficient as doing the other methods I was showing you guys, but it's still really, really cool. It's a great way to involve yourself in a scene if you're not already involved. That was my chair, I'm sorry. So yeah, I recommend doing that. Like I said, social media is a great way to kind of find stuff in your local area. If you know one band, that should be enough. That should be a gateway. And if you find flyers for things, for shows going on in, let's say, Boston or New York City or Chicago, these are big cities, but loads of cities that are big enough will have flyers like these around and will have something going on. So that's a really good way to find new stuff as well. The next method is really awesome because it's very, very personalized depending on the author, and this is zines. Zines are really cool. You'll find loads of stuff in zines, loads of information, band interviews, reviews of records and bands, tour schedules and diaries, entries, other types of art forms, all can be found in these types of music zines. And I want to shout out just one today. They're going to be doing an interview very soon with my band, Fawns, and that is Hectic Zine. They're based out of Bristol. So I would say check them out for sure. They do have an Instagram, and of course you can follow my band's Instagram. I'll plug it now. It is fawns.bands.New Hampshire. Actually, let's put it on this side so it's easier to see. fawns.band.New Hampshire on Instagram. When the interview does eventually come into fruition, you guys can take a look and check them out. I will eventually do a video on other zines that I recommend, but for now I just want to talk about them. And you can find these online as well as finding them in person. They're cool to collect in person. A good friend of mine and my bandmate actually has several zines himself. I don't think I have any personally. I just collect other things, mostly CDs and records and cassettes. But zines are a really cool thing. And like I said, they're personalized to whoever the authors are. So can get pretty cool in that respect. So yeah, check zines out. Okay, so this last one is harder to accomplish if you are not in a university or don't know of any locally owned radio stations, but I'm gonna say joining a radio station is really cool. If you're a college that has a radio station present that's run by the students, like if you're already not involved, what are you waiting for? Go and enroll and join. Get involved in that whole community. I was involved in college radio all 4 years of my undergrad. That was such a great time, and I learned so much. All these methods that I'm kind of presenting here in this video and the one before, all stuff that I've learned from being in radio, stuff I've picked up over time. And what's great with radio too is that a lot of stations still have so much of the physical media that they used to get in the mail back in the day. It's not as common anymore to get physical stuff in. I know the station I was involved with didn't really get much new stuff apart from like random blues CDs, which no one really asked for or wanted. But we still had pretty much all of our CDs that weren't stolen in the station still. And, you know, it was fun to just go through, take something out, be like, oh, that's an interesting title, and look at it and be like, whoa, what's this? I'm going to pop it in the CD player. Turns out it's amazing. You know, so many artists have been discovered that way, doing that for myself, you know, personally. And same, you know, some stations still have all their records, still have all their cassettes. My station still had some 8-tracks from like decades ago. So pretty neat. And also, the people you get to meet and interact with are like-minded in a lot of ways if they are doing music shows. So that's another way you can just talk with them, get to know them. You might make lifelong friends. You could, you know, join bands, you find musicians, and connections to other art scenes. Like I said, this is easier if you're in college. This kind of applies mostly to people who go to a college that has a radio station. But if you are one of those people, you're not involved yet, definitely you got to get involved. It is oftentimes life-changing, just at least in the way of meeting new people and making friends, and finding new music to listen to. Anyhow, that is it. Those are all the methods I have. If you haven't watched the first video yet of how to find new music using the internet, I will link that below. There is a part 1 to this. But these are pretty much all the methods that I use. In the future, I do plan on maybe going more in depth with each method just over time, like, you know, like blogs that I recommend, you know, like really cool blogs, you know, talk about cool compilation series that are out there. You know, I completely forgot to even mention these 2 compilations I had here, Soluble Fish and Boys Lie, that I kind of wanted to get into, but, you know, that's for another time. In the meantime, it is getting late at night, and I want to go to bed. I'm going on a hike tomorrow, so I'm going to let this go. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more content like this. I'm going to be doing a lot more music commentary. Yeah, again, thanks so much. I'm going to go before I keep rambling because it tends to happen. So have a great evening, and thanks again.